Oh yeah, is it Thursday already? Breaking news, a new Star Wars trilogy is on its way. I thought we were going to have nothing to talk about today during this live stream, but here we are with some of the most insane news we've gotten in a long time as Star Wars fans. A new Star Wars trilogy being written and produced by Simon Kinberg? First of all, who the hell is that? Second of all, what is this trilogy going to be about? When is it going to take place? Is it going to be in episode 10, 11, 12? We got a lot to dive into and not a lot of time, so let's dive into all of it. What's up, everybody? How's everybody doing on this fine Thursday afternoon? What's up, chat? Okay, a new Star Wars trilogy. I did not expect to be talking about this today. I'm going to be completely honest. I did not expect this at all. However, we've been talking over the last couple weeks that we believe that the Mandalorian and Grogu movie, the Dawn of the Jedi movie, and the Rey New Jedi Order movie are all beginnings of new trilogies. And now this might just be more evidence to support that theory. As Simon Kinberg, and we'll get to who the hell that is in a second, is now reportedly working on a new Star Wars trilogy. Whether that's an extension of the Rey movie or the Mando movie or the Dawn of the Jedi movie, that remains to be seen. But before we dive into any of it, let's say hi to everybody in the chat, shall we? Okay. Mando United, how we doing? Fearless in the house. Martin, what's up? Ian, how we doing? Brandon Baker in the house. Starship 66, what is up? Thomas, how we doing? Mike in the house. Hey, Mike, nice name, by the way. Nice name. Aaron, how we doing? Nathan in the house. Navarro, what is up? King Shadow, how we doing? And you guys know the deal. If I missed you, just yell at me in the chat. Let's give everybody a nice little,
Hello there.
General Kenobi.
Okay, so like I said, this morning, news was quite slow in the Star Wars realm. This weekend, we have D23 in Brazil, which we could be getting some announcements for the Mandalorian and Grogu movie, possibly a trailer, or at least a public trailer that was shown to the people at D23 earlier this year, or even an Andor Season 2 trailer, or maybe even a Skeleton Crew trailer yet again. We could be getting some pretty big announcements this weekend from D23 Brazil. However, that's not until this weekend. So today the news was kind of light, and I was like, okay, well, what's going to happen? And a little bit of a backstory of what happened with me this morning. I did get into a car accident, but I'm perfectly fine. Don't worry about it. But while that was happening, I was looking at my phone, and I got breaking news. A new Star Wars trilogy is on its way. And I was like, okay, so now I went from having absolutely zero to talk about on live stream to an insane amount to talk about on this live stream. So without further ado, let's talk about this. So this first got broke from Deadline, and I want to read this Deadline article first because they broke it first, and we'll talk about it first, okay? Okay. Yeah, I got rear-ended, okay? It wasn't my fault. Got absolutely just... It wasn't fun, okay? Chat, it wasn't fun, but I'm good, okay? If I just start going like this and I'm just like, you might want to, say, Mike, you're falling asleep on chat. Or if I start just going like, or if I start like mentioning Star Trek randomly instead of Star Wars, or like if we start going completely off topic, that's kind of hard to tell because we go off topic all the time on these live streams. If I feel abnormally out of context in what I'm saying, you might want to inform me, because I might be dying. I'm fine. All right, let's read this article, shall we? Let's talk about the news. So Deadline was the first to talk about this, and it's exclusive to them, but everybody else has kind of hopped on the bandwagon, and this seems to be pretty legit, as Lucasfilm has closed a deal with Simon Kinberg to develop a trilogy of Star Wars films. Not just one movie, an entire trilogy of films. We're not talking about a Rey movie. We're not talking about a Mandalorian and Grogu movie. We're not talking about a Dawn of the Jedi movie. We're talking a trilogy. Not a one-off, not a two-off, not a duology, not a quadlogy, a trilogy. Okay? Okay. Kinberg will write the trio and produce them with Lucasfilm chief Kathleen Kennedy. So this is pretty big. He's writing and producing them, all three of the movies. The sequel trilogy, a lot of fans either like it or dislike it. And the problem with the sequel trilogy was that it wasn't a sort of planned out thing from the very beginning. You had different directors, different writers for each one of the movies. And it didn't seem like a sort of cohesive story from start to finish. If you have one guy, Simon Kinberg, who comes in, writes the entire trilogy, and produces on all three movies, it's going to feel like a very cohesive, combined story. It's one story from start to finish where characters go on arcs, and it's one story from one creative mind. It's not just three different people going, this is going to happen. No, this is going to happen. No, that's going to happen. Okay? Okay. I heard this will comprise of episode 10 to 12 of the Skywalker saga that began with George Lucas in 1977's first film, that, along with Steven Spielberg's Jaws, reshaped the global blockbuster game. Insiders dispute my intel that Kinberg will continue the storyline, saying that instead it will be the beginning of a new saga and sit alongside Star Wars project. Sure. Oh, sorry. With James Mangold and Sharmina Chinoy Taika Waititi, I don't know about that. And Donald Glover, which, by the way, still haven't heard any news about the Lando thing. Lando movie? Haven't heard anything about that. As usual, Lucasfilm and Disney are not commenting, so nothing confirmed from Lucasfilm or Disney themselves. They like to keep things secret until it's their turn to announce it, and maybe that announcement will come this weekend at D23 in Brazil. Maybe not. Maybe they'll wait until, I don't know, Star Wars Celebration next year. But Deadline believes that this could be episode 10 to 12. However, everybody else, all the other insiders, are saying no. This will be the beginning of a new saga. So what that means is in Star Wars, you have the Skywalker saga. It's episode 1 to 9. It's all about the Skywalkers, all about the Palpatines, from Anakin to his kids Luke and Leia to his grandkids Ben Solo. And then you got Palpatine and, of course, his granddaughter Rey. So that's the Skywalker saga, following the Skywalkers. A new saga would be an all new cast of characters, all new people, not connected to the Skywalker lineage. Because before the prequel trilogy, there's no real connection to the Skywalkers because the first Skywalker was Shmi, and she wasn't a Force user. She was a slave on Tatooine. So if it was a trilogy before the Skywalker saga, it would be the beginning of a new saga, and it would be not revolving around the Skywalkers. If it was after the Skywalker saga, it probably still wouldn't involve any Skywalkers, as they seem to all be dead. No one's ever truly gone, but they seem to all be dead. So it would be a continuation of the Skywalker saga, but also be a new story. So we don't know for sure if this is going to be in episode 10, 11, 12, or if it could be a trilogy based around James Mangold's Dawn of the Jedi, or if it's a completely different trilogy, brand new trilogy. Could be Old Republic, could be 1,000 years after the sequel trilogy. We don't know. But they are theorizing that it's in episode 10 through 12, and other insiders are saying it's a brand new saga. Pretty dang crazy. Now tell me in the chat, what do you want, or let's put it this way, where do you want this trilogy to take place in the Star Wars timeline? You have, an infinite amount of options, but the big ones are the Dawn of the Jedi, which could be a trilogy within itself, but you already have James Mangold and Mr. Willimon working on that movie, which hopefully will end up being a trilogy. You have the Old Republic, which fans have been wanting to go to for years. You have the High Republic, which has been explored in books as of recent. You have post-sequel trilogy time periods, from the Rey movie all the way to an infinite amount of time past the Skywalker saga. Now, here's the big thing, and probably the reason that they think it's in episode 10 to 12. We've been talking about this for the last couple weeks. The Rey movie has lost its writer, Stephen Knight. He might have left a few months ago, but either way, they've lost the writer. So that movie, the Rey movie, which was supposed to be the next Star Wars movie after the Mandalorian and Grogu movie, it doesn't have a writer right now. As far as we're aware, it doesn't have a writer. What if Simon is just hopping on board the Rey movie and just turning it into a trilogy? That's definitely a possibility. So with that being said, where do you want this Simon Kinberg trilogy to take place in the timeline? Tell me in the chat while we keep reading this article. Kinberg previously worked with Lucasfilm in co-creating with Dave Filoni and Carrie Beck for the Emmy-nominated series Star Wars Rebels. So for all you Rebels fans out there, by the way, I wouldn't say the biggest Rebels fan. I'm sure there's somebody who's a bigger Rebels fan than me, but Rebels is my favorite Star Wars series, period, end of sentence. Absolutely the best show ever created. And the continuation of it, Ahsoka, seeing those Rebels crew in live action, it's incredible. But the guy who's going to be writing and producing the new Star Wars trilogy, not his only one, but one of his biggest Star Wars credits is helping Dave Filoni and Carrie Beck create the animated series Star Wars Rebels for all 4 seasons. He was also a consultant, on episode 7, which was The Force Awakens, the J.J. Abrams directed film that revived the franchise in 2015. So he didn't consult on The Last Jedi or The Rise of Skywalker, but he was a consultant on episode 7. Keep that in mind. He has experience not only on the animated front of Star Wars with Star Wars Rebels, but he also has experience with the movie side of things. Episode 7 being The Force Awakens. He has also been heavily involved in other franchises as a writer and or a producer. That includes a decade spent with the X-Men films and the Logan spin-off film that starred Hugh Jackman and was directed by James Mangold. So there you go. A direct connection to James Mangold, who's currently doing the Dawn of the Jedi movie. He was also a producer of the first 2 Deadpool films and an executive producer on the 2024 blockbuster Deadpool and Wolverine movie. He produced on Daisy Ridley. Chat, it's getting a little scary over here. He produced on the Ridley Scott-directed The Martian. Oh my God. Really? The Martian's an incredible movie. And has scripted such films as Mr. and Mrs. Smith and co-written on films that launched the Sherlock Holmes franchise with Robert Downey Jr. and Jude Law, a connection to Jude Law, who's coming into Skeleton Crew. He also produced the Kenneth Agatha Christie film Trilogy that started with The Murder on the Orient Express. In short, he's comfortable in the franchise sphere, so he's clearly got experience. That's for damn sure. At a whopping 51 years old, not that old, he's done all of this, from all the X-Men movies for over a decade, including spin-offs like Logan and the Deadpool movies, even the latest Deadpool movie he was an executive producer on, which was made over $1 billion+. He also did The Martian, which is one of the best movies of all time. He worked on the Robert Downey Jr. Sherlock Holmes. Like, he's done quite a lot in his time in Hollywood, and he's even worked on Star Wars. That's the biggest thing. When we talk about people who should be helming a new trilogy, writing the next Star Wars project, doing all that, experience in Star Wars is better than anything else. So when you have somebody like a Dave Filoni, who's had so much experience with the Clone Wars, with The Mandalorian, with creating a show like Ahsoka, him getting his own Star Wars movie is fantastic. Same with Jon Favreau. Creating The Mandalorian first and then going over to the movie form, that's fantastic. Same can be said about directors and producers like Bryce Dallas Howard. She should be getting her own show or her own movie at some point in the foreseeable future because she's done such a good job with the episodes that she's been given for The Mandalorian, for the Book of Boba Fett, and etc. So having experience with Star Wars is enormous. It's absolutely huge. And Simon has not only worked on all 4 freaking seasons of Star Wars Rebels, but he also was a consultant on episode 7, The Force Awakens. So not only has he been in the business for decades, working on some blockbuster movies with different franchises, he's worked on Star Wars as well. Honestly, guys, I'm going to be completely real with you. I've never heard of this guy's name in my life. Simon Kinberg. Never. Not until this morning. And having heard of him and what he's done before, he seems like the perfect option. I'm not one to say that I'm in the know when it comes to Hollywood. I don't know a lot of producers, writers, whatever. If you ask me, Mike, who should write the next Star Wars movie, I'm going to tell you Dave Filoni because he's the freaking GOAT when it comes to Star Wars. But after that, I don't know. I don't know a lot of writers and producers in Hollywood, but when you bring up a guy like Simon Kinberg, who I've never heard of before, and you show me this crazy list of amazing projects that he's worked on, including Star Wars ones, it seems like we got a massive win on our hands. Whatever this trilogy may be about, whether it's episode 10, 11, 12, or if it's an Old Republic trilogy, or a Dawn of the Jedi trilogy, or whatever, he seems like a great option, to say the least, from his experience in Hollywood, but also having experience with Star Wars. Because there is nothing that is more important than that. Absolutely nothing. Sharmeen Obaid-Chinoy. There's a lot of hesitancy with the director, Sharmeen Obaid-Chinoy, being the director who's going to bring back the character of Rey. And the reason for that is not because it is a little bit because she doesn't have that much film experience, only having done short films and Miss Marvel, but she doesn't have any Star Wars experience. Have her do something else first. Maybe an episode of The Mandalorian, maybe an episode of Ahsoka Season 2, whatever it may be. Give her something already in the Star Wars universe to work on, and then it will give fans more hope because they can see what she already did in Star Wars and go, that's fantastic. That's amazing. Give us more. And that's what we got here with Simon Kinberg. He's already given us 4 seasons of an incredible show and was a consultant for episode 7. But let's keep reading. Upcoming Simon Kinberg is producing Paramount's remake of Stephen King's The Running Man, which just went into production. Edgar Wright is directing. Glenn Powell, Josh Brolin, Amelia Jones, William H. Macy, and Lee Pace are, I guess, starring in it. That's pretty stacked cast right there. But he also is attached to produce Paramount's Star Trek movie, directed by Toby Haynes and penned by Seth. Yep. So he's a pretty busy man, sounds like. But Simon Kinberg is repped by CAA and Carl Austin at Jackoway. Okay, that doesn't seem necessary. So that's the news. That's the breaking news of the day. Simon Kinberg is going to write and produce a Star Wars trilogy. We don't know when it's going to take place in the timeline. We don't know what it's going to be about, but that's the news. Now, this is when speculation comes into play. This is when all shit hits the fan and things run wild. Like we just talked about, Daisy Ridley's Rey movie, or New Jedi Order movie, has lost its writer. Stephen Knight's gone. He's gone. And they desperately need a writer. And just as I mentioned before, I believe that all 3 of these Star Wars movies, from this New Jedi Order movie to the Mandalorian and Grogu movie to the Dawn of the Jedi movie, are all beginnings of trilogies. So you just put this Simon guy in for the Rey movie, and you make a trilogy. You make it a 10, 11, 12. And maybe you don't even have to call it 10, 11, 12. You can make it the beginning of a new saga. What do you think, chat? Is this good news? Is this bad news? Are we excited for Simon? Let me put up a poll in the chat. Let me put up a poll. Do you want this trilogy to be episode 10, 11, 12? Yes or no? Do you want this new trilogy that Simon Kinberg is writing and producing to be episode 10, 11, 12? Because it seems like people don't want it to. However, because Deadline mentioned in this article that they heard that this will comprise of episode 10, 11, 12 of the Skywalker saga, even though insiders are saying, no, that's not true. This is the beginning of a new saga. But even though they said that, most of the sort of talk, the news, when it comes to this article, when it comes to this new trilogy, is saying that this is a 10, 11, 12. You look around online right now, you go on Twitter, you go on Instagram, or X, formerly known as Twitter, you go on Instagram, you go on YouTube, you go on anywhere. You're going to see this news of there being a new Star Wars trilogy, but usually you're going to see it as Star Wars is making an episode 10, 11, 12. But that's not the case. The only news we have here that we know for sure is that Lucasfilm has closed a deal with Simon Kinberg to develop a Star Wars trilogy. Not an episode 10, 11, 12, So all these news outlets that are saying it's 10, 11, 12, it's not true. They're just believing that it could be episode 10, 11, 12. But that's not the case. All we know for sure is that he is developing a trilogy. We don't know if it's 10, 11, 12. We don't know if it's even remotely close to that time period in the Star Wars galaxy. All we know is he's signed on with Lucasfilm to do an entire trilogy. So tell me, chat, where do you think this trilogy takes place, and what do you think it'll be about? Let me read some chat too. I feel like I'm far behind on this chat right now. Okay, let's see. Where was I? I don't care if we get an episode 10, 11, 12 after the Rey movie, as long as we get the Heir to the Empire trilogy after The Mandalorian and Grogu, and an Old Republic trilogy after Dawn of the Jedi. Well, I'm certainly hoping that we get all three. That's for damn sure. I feel like it'll be the best sort of idea to just give us 3 new trilogies. But yeah, I'm hoping for the best. Sam says he made Dark Phoenix, though, which was bad. Well, I'm going to be completely honest. I still have never seen Dark Phoenix, but he did work on all those X-Men movies. So yes, some of those X-Men movies are better than others. Logan being one of the best comic book movies of all time, maybe if not the best comic book movie of all time. But he also did all 3 Deadpool movies. He also did Murder on the Orient Express, the Sherlock Holmes movies with Robert Downey Jr. Like, you can't just take the bad and expect it to be worse than that. You gotta take the good with the bad too. A Thrawn trilogy, yeah. So we're predicting that this Mandalorian and Grogu movie will be the beginning of a Thrawn trilogy. Yeah, absolutely. Kay says, I know no idea what it could be about, but interesting that they're already basically greenlighting a whole trilogy. It is interesting, but not really. Honestly, this is the best way to do it. Now, I don't know if leaking it out like this is the best way to do it. I'm sure Lucasfilm wants to announce it themselves. But Star Wars fans want to have something to look forward to. There's no better time to be a Star Wars fan than at the beginning of a trilogy. Because you're anticipating the first movie of that trilogy, and then once you get that movie, all of it is speculation as to what's to come in the next 2 movies. When A New Hope came out, people were like, holy crap, that was incredible. Empire comes out, and it blew the doors off of everything. When The Phantom Menace came out, it was this whole whirlwind of just Star Wars is back. But then you had to go, what the hell happens in the next 2 films? When the sequel trilogy began, specifically, The Force Awakens really set up a lot of characters to go on these crazy arcs, with a lot of mystery behind a lot of characters as well. Who the hell was Snoke? Where did he come from? Where did the First Order come from? Why is Luke on Arc 2? What happened to Han and Leia? All that stuff. A lot of unanswered questions. And that led to a lot of speculation online and theories about who Snoke might be and where he came from. And that's the coolest time to be a Star Wars fan, when speculation's running wild about a trilogy. About a trilogy. It's like nothing else. It's really like nothing else. So the news that it's an entire trilogy is so much better than them announcing that it's one movie and then going, okay, after that movie, did it do good? Did it not do good? We might do a sequel. We might not do a sequel. Like, if you announce it as an entire trilogy from the get-go, then you're talking about something great and you're getting fans excited. Absolutely excited. Yeah. Tony, what's up? What's the sub count right now? We're about at 98,800, something like that. So we are 200 away from 99 and 1,200 away from 100. Yeah, crazy. Mando United says, I want it to be an Old Republic trilogy. I mean, me too. I feel like Old Republic is my number 1 option for sure. But I think the logical explanation here is that he's just hopping on board as the new writer of the Rey movie, and they're just going to be announcing the Rey movie as a trilogy. You have to remember, over the last 2 weeks, we've been talking about Daisy Ridley because she's been on the promotional tour for her new movie Magpie. So she's been talking about how soon, there will be a update for the Rey movie coming soon. She just kept saying that. She was excited about it. She's like, I'm so excited for this movie, blah, blah, blah. It's coming soon. Announcement coming soon. I believe that announcement now might be that it's going to be a trilogy. And I think that's why she's so excited about it, that they're going to be announcing a new trilogy with her movie being the beginning of it. So That's what I think Daisy Ridley's been hinting at over these last couple weeks. Now, when that officially gets announced, I have no clue, but we'll hopefully we'll just have to wait and see. Star Wars Santa, what's up, says, what if it's an animated trilogy since he helped Filoni create Rebels? I would guess no, because yes, he helped with Rebels, but that seems to be the only animated thing on his credit list. And I don't see them ever making an animated trilogy. The animated Star Wars projects, as incredible as they are, some of the best storytelling in Star Wars is in Rebels, is in Clone Wars, is in Bad Batch, is in Tales of the Jedi, etc. But it's not viewed by many. Yes, the hardcore Star Wars fans, as ourselves, watch all that stuff, and it's really, really good. And I urge every Star Wars fan to go watch those projects. But it's not even comparable to the numbers that the live action shows do or the live action movies do. It's not even close. Those normie Star Wars fans, they either see it as too kiddie because it's a cartoon, or they just don't want to watch it because one reason or another. So I don't think they'd ever make an animated trilogy. I like where your head's at, but I just don't see it happen. Yeah. An Ahsoka trilogy, perhaps? Probably not. I mean, maybe Ahsoka will be involved in the Mando trilogy or Thrawn trilogy, whatever you want to call it. But I seriously doubt it would be an entire Ahsoka-led trilogy. Yeah. Phila says, I'd like these movies to take place way in the future. I wouldn't mind that either. If you're going to start a new saga, you might as well just start it in a completely new time period with no characters that anybody knows. Brand new cast of characters. Yes, you can allude to those characters being in the past. Maybe mention Rey in her new Jedi Order that happened years and years and years and years and years before. Mention Luke Skywalker and the Chosen One and all that stuff and the Old Republic and all that. But I wouldn't mind that. Going way into the future, maybe 1,000 years, less even, a couple hundred years. A couple hundred years and nobody's left. Nobody's alive anymore. So that would be cool. I'd like that. I'd like that for sure. Melissa, what's up? How we doing? Your pal Joe in the house, what's up? Says, hey, Mike, just saw your Discord post. Hope you're doing okay. I'm doing fine. So far, so good. Unless I'm not and I'm just in my head doing good. Am I doing good, chat? Is the stream going well? Have I been just going the whole time or what? Are we good? Are we good? Are we good? I think we're good, but maybe I'm just losing my mind. Okay. Inklet, what's up? How we doing? Which Discord? Okay, if you guys are not yet in the Discord, there's a link in the description below to a Discord called The People Who Love Star Wars. Go join that Discord immediately. And if you are not yet a member, becoming a member is the best way to support the channel, blah, 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 blah. And super chats keep the lights on over here, so I appreciate it. And for any amount of super chat, I will do any Star Wars impression of your choosing. Okay. That's what I had to say. Interesting. This poll has 63% of you saying no. You don't want this new trilogy to be in episode 10, 11, 12. I'm going to be completely honest with you. I agree. But I think it is. I don't want it to be in episode 10, 11, 12, but I think it will be. Yeah. James, what's up? Been on replay gang for a while. Nice to be here live. Nice to have you here live, James. I appreciate it. I know there's a lot of you guys who watch the replays of the live streams, and that's perfectly fine. You either can't make it or it's the middle of the night for you or whatever it may be. You're at work, school, whatever. I appreciate all you watch backers, the replayers, whatever you want to call yourselves. So shout out to you guys. I appreciate you. I know you can't make it live, but that's awesome. I appreciate you being here, James. The guy definitely has a better resume than Sharmina Chinoy. Yes, for sure, but Chinoy is only in as a director, and again, she doesn't have much directing experience, especially in Star Wars, but a writer and a producer of the entire trilogy is going to have way more pull and way more of an important job than even just the director. Yes, the director is important. You need a good director, but look at the original trilogy. You had George Lucas directed the first one, but he's not directing the next two. And not to say that either of those guys were bad directors, because they weren't. They were great directors. But George Lucas was the writer and the producer through the entire trilogy. And that's what matters more so. Aaron says, other than seeing his name in a Rebels credit, I've never seen or heard of him before, but his experience speaks loudly for him. Exactly. When I first heard this news, I said, Simon who? And it didn't help that I just hit my head or got one like that in a car accident. So it didn't help. I thought I was losing my mind. I was like, who the hell's this Simon guy? Am I really dying right now? No, but I was like, who the hell's this Simon guy? I've never heard of him. This could be horrible news, but I was looking online. People seem to be excited about it. I looked up the guy, saw his credits, went, okay, this might be a good thing. And then I saw he worked on Rebels, saw he worked on episode 7. I was like, this might be something great. And the more and more you look into this guy, the better and better it gets. He's worked on all the X-Men for decades, the executive producer on Deadpool and Wolverine from this summer, and it just keeps getting better and better from there. So it's all great news for sure. For sure. Just got the shipping confirmation that is crossed into Canada. Nice. Yeah, your pal Joe won the last giveaway, which was the Mandalorian helmet. Should be coming any day, for sure. And here I thought the Skywalker saga was over. Yeah, you're not wrong, Chris. The Skywalker saga is supposed to be over. Rise of Skywalker was marketed as the end of the saga. Every saga has an ending. That's why I think this is most likely going to be the beginning of the next saga, which will be the post-sequel trilogy world. Whether that's starting with the Rey movie or not, that remains to be seen, but I don't think it's going to be a continuation of the Skywalker saga. I think it's going to be the beginning of what's to come next. I actually think this Rey movie is not going to focus as much on Rey as people think. Yes, she will be the one who's making the new Jedi Order, sort of being the leader of the new Jedi Order, but she's not going to be the main character per se. I think her students in the Jedi Order, or even Finn or whomever, could be more of a main character than even she is. But we shall see. Kit Fisto, what's up? Oh, just scroll down to the bottom. Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? Okay. WVU grad says, hard to know what to make of this news without more details. Okay, interesting. Well, details you want, details you shall receive. Let's go to this next article. This one's coming from Bespin Bulletin. You're probably going to see a lot of similar things in this article as it is coming from that Deadline exclusive, but there is some new information, so let's read it anyway. So Bespin says, Simon Kinberg to write and produce Star Wars Episode 10, 11, 12, ? Again, the big thing here is a freaking question mark because people are taking this and running wild going, 10, 11, 12 are confirmed. No, that's not what's going on here. Lucasfilm, Simon Kinberg is signed on for a trilogy. Not 10, 11, 12. Now, it could be 10, 11, 12, but not 10, 11, 12. Okay? It's not confirmed yet. That's why a question mark is a very powerful tool. But let's keep going. This is Simon, by the way. Okay. According to an exclusive from Deadline, Simon Kinberg is slated to write and produce a new Star Wars trilogy, which, according to outlets, will be Episode 10, 11, and 12. Again, this is what's confirmed. This is what is theorized or hoped by many. Deadline believes that the trilogy could be Episode 10, 11, 12, though some insiders dispute this information to the outlet, believing that it is a new saga that will sit alongside the Skywalker saga, Episode 1 through 9. Lucasfilm, as expected, are not commenting on the report from Deadline. The Hollywood Reporter claims that Kinberg's trilogy is not a continuation of the Skywalker saga, but that the intent is to move forward with a new story and new characters, but with familiar faces that pop up. Interesting. So now you're talking about probably a post-sequel world if familiar faces are popping up, but that means you're having a new trilogy that focuses on new characters, but the old ones can still show up. So it's likely that Rey could play a sort of Master Yoda-esque role in the upcoming trilogy. If that's truly what's going on here, this is the beginning of a saga, beginning of new characters' stories, then Rey might just be Yoda in the prequel trilogy. Yes, he's a character. You could even argue he's sort of a main character, but he's not Obi-Wan, Anakin, Padme, Palpatine, Dooku. He's not that much of a main character in those movies. He plays a role. He plays a fairly significant role, being the master, grandmaster of all the Jedi, but he's not a main character. And that could be what Rey is in this upcoming trilogy. She could just be the Grand Master of this new Jedi Order. And her students, her Padawans, could be the main characters. New threats, new Sith, new possibly Abeloth, Vong, who knows? We don't know who the villain could be, but it doesn't sound like, at least from this description, that Rey or any of the other sequel trilogy characters will be the main characters of this upcoming trilogy. Instead, they will just be familiar faces that pop in every once in a while. Let's keep reading. It's not mentioned in the report if the new Simon Kinberg trilogy is an evolution of the previously announced Rey Skywalker film that will be directed by Sharmina Bed-Chinoy, which writer Stephen Knight exited recently. We just talked about that. It was mentioned, however, that the trilogy would sit alongside other announced Star Wars projects, including Sharmina Bed-Chinoy's flick. Kinberg is no stranger from the galaxy far, far away, as he previously co-created the animated series. Co-created Star Wars Rebels. Is that what the other one said too? Oh, it did say co-creating. Okay, interesting. I guess I just missed that. Co-created is pretty big. That doesn't mean he produced the show. That doesn't mean he helped out a little bit. He co-created the show, creating those characters, those fan favorite characters of Ezra, Kanan, Hera, Sabine, Zeb, Chopper. I didn't forget you this time, Chop. I didn't forget you. Alongside Dave Filoni, while also acting as a consultant for The Force Awakens. Kinberg's previously written featured films include X-Men Last Stand, Mr. and Mrs. Smith, Fantastic Four. Oh my God, this is the bad Fantastic Four. Talk about a bad one on your list. That's a bad one. That's a real bad one. X-Men Apocalypse, X-Men Days of Future Past, Sherlock Holmes, and X-Men Dark Phoenix. Can't help but wonder if this trilogy will follow Daisy Ridley's Rey Skywalker. It seems like it would, but with the lack of information, it would be wrong at this point to make assumptions. Though everybody is. Though speculation cannot be helped, and it's always fun to explore. Sharmina Bed-Chinoy was slated to direct a standalone film that would follow Rey attempting to build a new Jedi Academy. And it was previously rumored that Sean Levy, who directed Deadpool and Wolverine, was to direct a Star Wars movie that would also feature Rey Skywalker. I guess fans will have to wait and see what Lucasfilm has planned. I was always looking forward to the Rey Skywalker Sharmina Bed-Chinoy project. It always felt like an episode 10 in all but its name. It follows the protagonist of the previous Star Wars trilogy, after all. However, it's not. I was not a fan of Stephen Knight being on the project, as I have not been a fan of his work that I've seen. I had hoped that whoever replaced him was a step up, at least in my eyes. But I personally am even less excited knowing that Simon Kinberg is the writer of episode 10 to 12. Interesting. I think Simon Kinberg is a great producer, but I have not been a fan of the vast majority of his projects that he has written. I hope that Simon Kinberg has additional writers on the trilogy, although I am a big fan of Lucasfilm finally doing what they should have done with the sequel trilogy, and that is get one writer across all three movies and not let filmmakers come in and seemingly do whatever they want with no cohesive planning or vision. So obviously that last paragraph was more so the Bespin Bulletin's own opinion, but they make a lot of sense. You need a plan from the get-go. You need something from the jump with one writer, or at least one group of writers, and not a new group of writers with every single movie. Now, is this just the new writer for the Rey movie? What do we think, Chad? Actually, let's put up a poll for this one. Let's put up a poll for this question. Is this just a new writer for the Rey movie? And confirming, I guess, that the Rey movie will be the beginning of a new trilogy. Let's ask it. We'll put it this way. Do you think Simon Kinberg, great name by the way, Simon Kinberg is just the new writer for the Rey movie. Or we'll put it this way, Rey Trilogy. Yes or no? Yes or no? David says, I don't think the Rey movie is going to happen. Well, it's definitely going to happen. One way or another, it will happen. I actually think this news right here even furthers my expectations of the Rey movie happening for sure. Yeah. There's no way. All right, here's why the Rey movie will happen. There's no way they bring Daisy Ridley out on stage and don't make the movie. I think it's more likely that the Dawn of the Jedi movie were to get canceled than this movie. Even though they brought James Mangold out on stage. They brought Sharmina Bencino out on stage. But when you bring Daisy Ridley, a character who fans of the sequel trilogy absolutely love, when you bring her back on stage and say she's getting her own movie, you kind of have to come through with that one. Yeah. There's really no turning back on that one. But hey, maybe. You never know. You never know. Aaron says, Kinberg's involvement instills hope, but I'd prefer that that it be detached from the number installment of the Skywalker saga. I agree with that. I don't think it should be titled episode 10, 11, 12. For a few reasons. One, episode 9, Rise of Skywalker, was supposed to be the end of the saga, and it should be. The Skywalker saga should be over. But also, if you're going to continue onto the next saga, and it's going to be another 9 episodes, what are you going to be? Episode 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18? I don't think so. It's almost like, who's still watching at episode 17? You've lost your audience. So you want to sort of rebrand and reboot to an extent. And starting a new saga is going to bring in new fans, old fans, and spark some new excitement, not just continuing the same old story. So even if it is a sequel trilogy, I really hope they don't market it as an episode 10. It just doesn't seem like a good idea at all. David says, how many movies have Lucasfilm announced that never came to fruition? I'll believe it when I see it. It's not a bad way to look at it. I'm sure there will be some sort of announcement around this news, either this weekend at D23 Brazil or in a couple months at Star Wars Celebration. Yes, there's been a ton of Star Wars projects that have been announced that just never came to fruition, from Taika Waititi's movie to Kevin Feige's movie to Patty Jenkins' movie. There's a lot of them. And the fact that we've been out of the movie theaters for 7 years, even the movies that have been announced from Mando and Grogu, Rey movie, Dawn of the Jedi, those haven't even come to fruition either. Yes, the Mandalorian and Grogu movie has filmed, so I guess that has, but yeah. It's not a bad way to look at it. Wait till it actually gets announced. Nathan says, I'm excited. I'd love them to use the new Jedi Order books as source material. I don't think they will, for obvious reasons, like Rey being the main character now. But there's just a lot of stuff in those Legends novels that just can't really work in canon. Even Abeloth is one of those things, because Abeloth, although she's such a crazy, powerful being, brought into canon, she's going to have to be nerfed. And by nerfed, I mean made weaker. Because she can't be that powerful. I mean, she can be very powerful, but she can't be as powerful as she is in Legends. She might be impossible to stop in canon. Yeah. Isaac, what's up, says, as long as Kathleen Kennedy has influence on the project, no. Even if George Lucas was producing. As long as Kathleen Kennedy has influence on the project, no. Well, here's the deal. This trilogy is probably not going to happen for some time. At least 2 years. At least 2 years. And Kathleen Kennedy's contract is up in May of next year. So it could be that she's out the door. Now, I don't know if that's going to be the case. Maybe she just re-signs on. The word in the streets is that nobody wants her job, because her job is a very difficult one. Any good thing that she releases, she doesn't get any credit, and everything that's bad that happens, she gets all the hate. So it's not a good job to have, that's for damn sure. And whoever gets that, pretty much nobody wants the seat, but whoever gets that seat's going to be in the same boat. Whoever gets it's going to get all the hate. So I don't really know if she's going to want to keep that role, but we'll have to wait and see, I guess. Yeah. Do I want Mace Windu to be resurrected or stay dead? I would say stay dead. As cool as it would be to have Samuel L. Jackson come back, as cool as it would be to see that purple lightsaber again, it would just make too many complications and not be enough, you know? It wouldn't be enough to just bring him back for no reason. Because you're going to have to kill him off anyway, so what's the point of bringing him back just to kill him off again? You know? And then have to weave through all the, why wasn't he in the original trilogy? Why wasn't he in Kenobi? Why wasn't he in anything? Where has he been? That too. They've already done so many resurrections and stuff like that. Yeah. It would just be like, somehow Mace Windu returned. And it would be a pretty big meme. Yeah. Your pal Joe says, I think we are doing a disservice to the rest of the movies if they are 10, 11, 12. I agree. I just don't see it. Here's the thing. Some fans completely disagree with me on this, and they say it has to be 10, 11, 12, or else nobody's going to watch it. If it's a Rey movie, nobody's going to come to watch it. But if it's episode 10, then everybody's going to come to watch it. And I actually disagree with that. I think episode 10, 11, 12, like Joe just said, it makes the first 9 feel almost inconsequential. You have Palpatine, who's been this reigning power in the galaxy for all these years. He dies, and now you just continue the story without him while adding a new villain, or maybe even bringing him back again. No, but just start a new saga. Start with episode 1 again, or even just something else, chapter 1 or whatever you want to do. Just don't do 10. Yeah. Star Wars Santa says, we don't know for sure that the guy has been inked for a deal. All we know is that it's a rumor of it. Yes and no. This is the same conversation we had back in August of is The Acolyte Season 2 really canceled? Because Deadline, the exact same outlet here, was the one who said that. They said Lucasfilm is no longer making an Acolyte Season 2, and then everybody said that. Lucasfilm never said one way or another if that was true or not. Still hasn't to this day, but that seems to be the case. Like, everybody seems to know that The Acolyte Season 2 is not happening. And that seems to be the case with this too. Everybody already seems to know after just a few hours that Simon Kinberg has signed on for a trilogy. And I feel as though if it wasn't true, Lucasfilm or Disney would come out and say, no, that's not true. Especially with the Acolyte Season 2 deal. Yeah. He made Dark Phoenix, though, and that is bad. I agree with you that movie is probably bad. Never saw it. I agree with you that, what was the other one? Oh, Fantastic Four, the second Fantastic Four run. That was bad. But not all movies are winners. We'll put it that way. Not all producers are going to have just straight wins. Look at like a Christopher Nolan. Yes, he's probably the greatest director alive right now, but not all of his movies are winners. That's for damn sure. A completely new story would make the most sense. I know it's a game, but look how awesome Jedi Survivor and Jedi Fallen Order are. Yes and no. I mean, Jedi Fallen Order and Jedi Survivor take place in the Skywalker saga. So yes, they're new characters and new stories, but they utilize the Empire and Vader and the Inquisitors. So it's not really a fully new story. Like, if you're going post-sequel trilogy into the future with a brand new cast of characters, you're talking brand new everything. Brand new government, brand new droids, brand new buildings, brand new planets, brand new ships. Everything's new. So yes, Jedi Fallen Order and Jedi Survivor are new because Cal Kestis is a new character and all that stuff. But it's not like a new time period completely, you know? Sam says, that's true, but if there was a big Sith bad, who would it be? Aside from Thrawn in the past Sith and villains, because this is taking a long This is taking place a long time after that. So who would be the big bad of episode 10, 11, 12? Well, that's a great question. And honestly, we don't know the answer. Now, you could speculate that there's all these different villains that it could be. But I want to ask you guys, who do you think the villain should or could be for this possible sequel trilogy, if that's really what this guy's signed on to be? I mean, there's some options like a Darth Krayt we've talked about in the past. Abeloth, of course, is a great one. But if you're talking just Siths, Darth Talon would be cool. There's a few good options for a great villain. I mean, Abeloth would be the top of my list, but the Grisk. Qui-Gon's ghost, what's up? How's it going? It's been a while. Says the Grisk. Yeah, the Grisk or the Vong could be great too, but those aren't really Sith, obviously. But yeah, for sure. No, Darth Krayt was a terrible storyline in your opinion? I don't know about that. I like the Darth Krayt. Darth Krayt's a cool one because he starts as a Jedi. He starts as a Jedi, so it ties together everything. If you really want this to be in episode 10 and be sort of connected to everything else, Darth Krayt is the way to go because he's a Jedi who survived Order 66, goes off to be a Tusken Jedi, or at least a Tusken with a lightsaber. He fights Obi-Wan Kenobi, so he has a connection to those characters. He was at Order 66. He was at the Jedi Temple. And he goes off to become a Sith and doesn't come back until later on. Yeah. Selena, what's up? That's why Darth Krayt could be something very interesting because it would be able to tie it all together. Yeah. Dominic, how we doing? If it's a Rey saga, then it can't be in episode 1 to 3. That's because her saga began with episodes 7 to 9. That does make sense. It would have to be episode 10 to 12 because Rey's already in the previous saga. But again, I don't think Rey has to be the main character of this trilogy. She can be a main character, but not like the main characters, you know? The Force Dragon, what's up? 100K by Saturday? No. Maybe 99K by Saturday, but definitely not 100. We're getting close, though, chat. We are getting freaking close. It's crazy. I want a whole new story for this trilogy. I don't know about whole new story because you're going to have characters involved like Rey or Finn or whomever. But it could be a good trilogy. Chopper trilogy? I'd be down for that. I'd be down for that. Yeah. Cal Kestis was a massive W. They can do that again. Yeah. Disney has clearly proven that they can make great new characters. That's for damn sure. And it's not just one guy doing it all. You've seen incredible characters be created in the last 12 years that could carry their own trilogy. From a Cal Kestis to a Din Djarin to a Grogu. Here's the deal. If you're going to talk about a post-sequel world, Grogu has to be involved in that. If he's really going to live for the next 800 years, he's got to be involved in the next Jedi Order. So Grogu could be a big part in what's to come in the future and possibly in this Simon Kinberg trilogy. But going back to that, Disney's made some incredible characters. Not only Cal Kestis, Din Djarin, Grogu, but the Rebels crew. Kanan Jarrus, Ezra Bridger, Harrison Dula, Chopper. But even more recently, Chimere. One of my favorite characters of all time, Chimere. So they've proven themselves to make really, really good characters. The problem is, can you make a character like Anakin, like Obi-Wan, like Luke, like Leia, like Padme, like Han, to carry a trilogy? Cal Kestis, I think, could do that. But again, he's already in video game form and in the wrong part in the timeline. Grogu might be able to do that. The fact that he doesn't speak yet is concerning. Obviously, he can learn. But can Grogu himself, as an older variation of the character, carry a trilogy? I don't know. There's a reason that all the main characters of the trilogy so far have been human. Yes, there's a ton of aliens in Star Wars, but it's hard for an alien to carry a show or a movie. That's why all of this, from Mando to all the movies, literally every single movie, I'm trying to rack my head around. I mean, other than Chewie in the Solo movie, every main character, for the most part, is human. other than droids like R2 and stuff. But yeah, your alien characters are all side characters, or at least not the main characters, because it's hard to do. So can Grogu carry a trilogy? Maybe. We'll have to wait and see. Ahsoka is an alien. That's true, and she got her own show. That's for sure. But she's a very human alien. I'm talking like a Ithorian or something, a hammerhead Ithorian or a. The problem too is they all kind of have accents. Like, what if what's Bosk's species name again? What's Bosk's species name? The lizard dudes. Why am I blanking on that name? But it would be really annoying to just listen to a whole trilogy of him going. Oh, so it is kind of hard to do, but yeah. Yeah. If I guess if it was about Ahsoka, it would be helmed by Dave Filoni. Well, yeah, here's the thing. We know for a fact that it's not the Mando trilogy that they're talking about here. Trandoshians? Yes, Trandoshians. Thank you. Trandoshians. It's not what a Mando trilogy. We know that. That's out of the conversation, because the Mando trilogy is going to be helmed by Jon Favreau and Dave Filoni. The only two other options here are Dawn of the Jedi and the Rey movie. Could those be beginnings of trilogies? Possibly. But it seems more likely right now it could be in episode 10, 11, 12. Yeah. Old Republic would be out of left field and would be incredible, but it seems less likely right now. Could be a live-action Jedi Fallen Order trilogy? No, they wouldn't just recreate those games into movies. The story already exists. But what about using the new Beyond space of the unknown regions? Could be used for the Vong. Actually, I think Skeleton Crew, which we will be talking about today as well because it comes out in 26 days, Skeleton Crew could be sort of introducing that possibility. Skeleton Crew is going to take place in Wild Space, which is also near and included in the unknown regions. The unknown regions in space house a lot of unknown things in Star Wars. And that is, first of all, Exegol, which we see in the sequel trilogy, but it could house a home for the Vong or the Grisk or whomever. And that would be pretty damn cool to see. And Skeleton Crew could set that up. Yeah. Mando United says, I'm excited for any new content, but I really want to see a new saga. Rey's not my favorite character, not going to lie, but still would watch a Rey trilogy, though. Well, let me pitch it to you this way. What if this new saga just starts 20 years after the Skywalker saga, brand new cast of characters, but it just so happens that this new Jedi Order is being run by Rey. She's not the main character, but she's a character involved in the story, like a Yoda in the prequel trilogy. Finn could be involved, pop in every once in a while. Poe could be involved because he's involved with the government, whatever the government may be at the time, or what it will look like at the time. And we'll have a new cast of heroes and villains to see go on this adventure or whatever the story may end up being. Would that be something you guys would want to watch? It would still be technically this Rey movie, but she wouldn't be the main character. She would just be helming the way into the future of the galaxy. I'd love a story about the Chiss ascendancy. That'd be pretty cool. I would like that though, like before, not post sequel world. Yeah. Yeah. The Grisk are already set up in Star Wars Eclipse. I don't know if they were going with the Grisk in that trailer. I know who you're talking about, those weird looking gray people. I don't know. We'll see. The Vong would decimate the current Star Wars universe unless they got severely nerfed. That's the problem, though, with a lot of Legends characters like that. From the Vong, the Grisk, Abeloth, those characters are so ridiculously powerful. Even Starkiller, Galen Merrick, even characters like that, they're so powerful that they just can't be brought into canon. They're made so powerful to tell a story, to be something big to overcome, but they can't be as powerful as they are in Legends. That's for damn sure. Yeah. Episode 10, 11, 12. The Legend of Yord. Doubt it. I would prefer a retcon of the sequel trilogy and see adaptations of Legends in some new form, especially the Solo twins. Not Rey, please. Well, I'm sure you would prefer that, but that's just never going to happen. The sequel trilogy, whether you like it or clearly not, is never going to get retconned for a bunch of different reasons, but one of them being they made billions of dollars off of them, and they continue to. Again, I don't think Rey's going to be the main character of this next trilogy. She'll be a character in the trilogy, probably a big-ish role in the first movie, but she won't be the main character. Hunter says, oh, just scroll down to the bottom. Damn it. Oh, come on. Oh, there we go. Hunter says, wish they would just scrap the latest trilogy and start a new series of films completely isolated from those pieces. Well, I agree with you. I think they should go hundreds of years into the future to start a new trilogy. But it doesn't seem to be the route that they're going to go. Yeah. And by the way, it does seem like you guys think that Simon is going to be the writer of the new Rey trilogy, which makes sense. Makes sense. Yeah. Sam says, give me the Sith and Jedi Wars again. The Old Republic is one of the only times that they actually had Sith and Jedi Wars. Never have seen them in live action. That's true. We've never seen them in live action. And honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if we don't see them for quite some time. However, the Old Republic is coming. I think Skeleton Crew might be the sort of tease to it. Like we mentioned last stream, the fact that Old Republic is being mentioned in the trailer is pretty interesting. But the Old Republic will eventually be something that gets explored. They're sitting on a gold mine. They're sitting on an absolute gold mine of billions upon billions upon billions of dollars worth of content with characters and stories that already exist that fans want to see so badly. And at some point, they'll have to tap into that gold mine. Now, with that being said, you talk about Jedi and Sith wars. There could be a time, because history repeats itself, that the Star Wars galaxy could come back to that. If the Sith return in a post-sequel world, it's not going to be the rule of two. That rule of two is going to be thrown out the window just because they saw how badly it failed with Palpatine's demise. So I think if the Sith return in a post-sequel world, you're going to see a whole group of them, possibly hundreds of them versus hundreds of Jedi, another Sith and Jedi wars, which would be pretty cool. I'd be down for that. What if during Ahsoka time in the other galaxy, they draw the attention of the Yuuzhan Vong, who take decades to get to the primary galaxy, and that's who Rey has to fight? That would be pretty cool. Here's the thing. Ahsoka Season 1 sets up something drastic that I know will come to pay off at some point in some time. And that is when Baylan Skoll's looking at like the maps or whatever with Morgan Elsbeth about how to get to this new galaxy. And he's like, you have to get this right, or else we'll be stuck in the void forever. Meaning, in between Star Wars galaxies, there's this void in space where there's nothing. And if you get trapped there, you're done. You're stuck there forever. There's no way you can get anywhere. You're trapped. I think that's going to play a big role in what's to come down the line in possibly Ahsoka, or it could even come into play in the Rey movie or something. It could be set up to be something huge later on down the line. Will Peridia play a role in a possible Rey trilogy or possibly post-sequel world? Maybe. Depends on how much Ahsoka's involved, I guess. If Ahsoka's still alive, too. That's a big thing. Yeah. That is true. A new Skywalker saga? That's very original. Something new and good is needed. Keyword, new and good. Yeah, for sure. I mean, it won't be a new Skywalker saga. It won't be called the Skywalker saga, that's for sure. But it will be called a new saga. Absolutely. The Bane trilogy starts with the Sith and Jedi War. Yeah. Well, actually, he kind of puts the end to that by creating the rule of two. Yeah. Yeah. Plus, who would want to take the Palpatine's name? Just doesn't make sense. Oh, I get what you're saying. Talk about Ahsoka. Talk about Rey. Do or do not. There is no announcements. Oh, okay. Okay. Do you agree that The Acolyte should be removed from canon as well as Disney Plus because it was a horrible show? No, absolutely not. I thought The Acolyte was incredible. I think it should be getting a second season. I could not disagree with you more, actually, quite frankly. And why would it be removed from canon? What's the point in that? It starts the downfall of the Jedi, which happens. There's no denying that. Mace was frozen in the Emperor's cloning tanks, and now Rey destroyed the remnant of the Sith cloners in Palpatine. Mace gets saved. That would be insane. And actually, if you were to bring back Mace Windu, that would be the way to do it. Over 60 years later, in a Rey movie, Rey happens upon a cloning facility that used to be Palpatine's and uncovers a dying or still alive in stasis Mace Windu. I don't know why you would do that. What's the point then? But that's really the only answer to it, you know? Hi, Hodge, what's up? What is up? Can I get some good cups follow orders in the chat, please, chat? Bumpa! Okay. Where was I? All right, let's get to this third article that I have here. This one's coming from The Direct, and all these different articles are saying very similar things. They're all reporting the same news, and that is that Simon Kinberg has been signed on for a Star Wars trilogy. But they all say different things. They all have different information coming towards them, so there's always a little bit of new stuff in each article. So we'll probably skip through a lot of this, but let's read this one anyway. Star Wars announces new movie trilogy, reported episode 10, 11, 12. Again, it's reportedly episode 11, 10, 12 because it is not yet confirmed. The galaxy far, far away is heading back to the big screen, but with a drastic change from what was previously reported. Star Wars has been producing exclusively TV content through Disney Plus since 2019's Rise of Skywalker opened in theaters. This hasn't been all bad, with 3 seasons of The Mandalorian becoming massive commercial successes. It also hasn't been all roses, with series like the Book of Boba Fett, Obi-Wan Kenobi, and The Acolyte disappointing many fans. Disagree, but yes. However, behind the scenes, Lucasfilm has been gearing up for a major return to theaters. Major return to theaters. I mean, yes, clearly it's been 5 years, but it will be 7 years since they made a movie or put a movie into theaters by the time the Mandalorian and Grogu movie comes out. But they have been clearly working their asses off in the background to make the best possible movies, going through different variations of different scripts and possibly 3 new trilogies. Okay. Deadline has reported that Simon Kinberg of the X-Men franchise is set to develop and write a new Star Wars trilogy from Lucasfilm. Before we keep reading, let me ask you guys this. If you were to make a Star Wars trilogy right now, doesn't matter when in the timeline, doesn't matter where, who it's about, whatever, who would you want to write the whole thing? And don't say George Lucas. George Lucas is the only one off limits because he's not going to come back and do it. Anybody who's active right now in Hollywood, we'll put it that way. Who would you want to write it? Let's take a second. Who would you want to write the next Star Wars trilogy if you were in charge? And it can't be George Lucas because he won't come back. If you were in charge, who would it be? Dave Filoni. Yeah, I'd probably have to say Dave Filoni too. But give me some other names. Non-Dave Filoni. Steven Spielberg. Spielberg's a good one. I don't know. He's kind of another George Lucas-esque off-limits type deal. You know? The guy who wrote Loki. Yeah, what was his... Michael. He's got my same name, but what the hell's his last name? Michael something. Michael something. Something Michael. Michael. Michael? I forget what his name is. Somebody help me out. That's a good one. Kasdan? Who's Kasdan? Let's look up Kasdan. Kasdan. Who Kasdan? Lawrence Kasdan, did you mean? Lawrence Kasdan is an American filmmaker. He was a co-writer for the Star Wars film Empire Strikes Back, Return of the Jedi, Force Awakens, and Solo, a Star Wars story. Interesting. That's a pretty good one. That's a pretty dang good one. But again, he's one that probably wouldn't want to do. He did do Solo, but I would imagine because he's 75, he probably wouldn't want to come back and do a whole trilogy himself. You know? Michael Michelson? I doubt that's his name. Michael Waldron. Yes, Michael Waldron. That's his name. Michael Waldron's done an incredible job with the multiverse in Marvel. Now, I'm not saying we should ever touch the multiverse in Star Wars because we shouldn't. Multiverse has no place in Star Wars. But he is an incredible writer nonetheless. Favreau. Yeah, Jon Favreau will be good. Yeah. But that's the thing. It's hard to come up with a name that could do that. That could be a guy who could helm the entire trilogy. It's hard to come up with a name like that. But when you find a guy like Simon Kinberg and you learn about him, seems like a pretty good name. Let's keep reading that. Okay. Well, it was previously understood to be ending with The Rise of Skywalker. Deadline is hearing that the new trilogy is comprised of episode 10, 11, 12 of the Skywalker saga. However, signals are mixed, with other insiders seeming to believe that the new trilogy will not be a part of the saga. But The Hollywood Reporter's Boris Kit has stated that the new trilogy is not meant to be a continuation of the Skywalker saga, but rather a new direction cinematically. So, not a continuation of the Skywalker saga, even though Deadline says it is, contradicting reports, as we've seen. The Hollywood Reporter also noted that past or familiar characters could appear in the new trilogy. That doesn't mean that Kinberg's first film will necessarily be episode 10. So pretty much what they're saying here is it still will be a post-sequel world. Both reports are saying it's a post-sequel story, trilogy, but one is saying it's episode 10 and the other one's saying it's not. Yeah. Kinberg has some experience with Star Wars, helping co-create Star Wars Rebels. This is being played down too much. Having co-created Star Wars Rebels all 4 seasons is huge. That's massive. That's some of the greatest Star Wars storytelling ever seen. Having that guy who co-created the story with Dave Filoni. Let's not forget that. With Dave Filoni. Yes, Dave Filoni's very busy doing Ahsoka Season 2, Mandalorian and Grogu, helming his own Mando movie. He's still the chief creative officer, meaning that everything runs through him. And if his pal, his co-creator of Star Wars Rebels, is creating a new trilogy, that's great news. That is great news. But he also worked as a consultant at The Force Awakens. It was previously reported that Lucasfilm was shifting away from planned trilogies, instead greenlighting one film at a time with potentials for sequels, which I was not a fan of at all. Yes, you want to know if you have a success on your hands with the first movie, but there's nothing more exciting than getting hyped up for a trilogy. Knowing that there's 2 more movies after this one you're sitting down to watch that will explain the rest of the story is incredibly hype and incredibly cool. But doing one at a time is not the way. This is not the way. As of writing this, the only Star Wars film officially slated to hit theaters is the Mandalorian and Grogu movie on May 22nd of 2026. James Mangold is also set to direct a Jedi Origins movie, and Daisy Ridley is set to return for a future film directed by Sharmeen Obed-Chinoy. Punch and Chewie, we're headed back to theaters. The trickle of Star Wars film news has been confusing and disjointed by Lucasfilm. Since the presumed conclusion of the Skywalker saga in 2019's Disney Plus has become the home for Star Wars, which film projects like Patty Jenkins' Rogue Squadron and Taika Waititi's untitled film have not moved forward. Recently, it has been reported that Stephen Knight has exited the Rey movie. We talked about this quite a bit over the last couple of days. Putting into question when it will be released into theaters, as it might not reach that December of 2026 release date. Lucasfilm currently holds a December 2026 release date, like I just mentioned, for a Star Wars film, but nothing officially has been slated. I'm assuming whatever movie that will be, if it's the Rey movie or the Dawn of the Jedi movie, that will be announced at 2025's Star Wars Celebration in Japan. Because right now, the Mandalorian and Grogu movie is already set to come out in May of that year. They have to announce what's to come next. The new Simon Kinberg trilogy will likely not start that year, with a massive undertaking ahead of its production, given it doesn't have a cast or direction attached. Here's the deal with this, though. It could be that this Rey movie is going to be turned into or adapted into this new trilogy. So it's possible that somehow, some way, December 2026 could be the beginning of this new trilogy. Here's the deal. Usually when something like this gets leaked out like this, it means it's already been talked about quite a bit on the back end. I'm sure if Simon has officially signed papers and is signed on to be writing a trilogy, that has been something that's been already in the works for months. So it's possible that he could have taken over for Stephen Knight and been signed on for an entire trilogy, and this Rey movie could still technically be hitting that December 2026 release date. Now, it could not, but it's not out of the realm of possibility to say it can. Darth Raccoon, what's up? Unfortunately for fans, it's hard to become too excited by the news, as Star Wars movies reports have been leading to disappointment for years. Filmmakers like Sean Levy, Ryan Johnson, J.D. Dillard, David Bednoff, D.B. Weiss, and more have been attached to one or more Star Wars films, and none are currently guaranteed to come into fruition. It's less important whether or not these movies are episode 10 to 12, but rather if Simon Kinberg's trilogy will ever make it to the big screen at all. Of course, that's always a big concern. An announcement is an announcement, and this is a big one. But whether it comes to fruition, whether this trilogy actually happens, still remains to be seen. Yeah. I believe Bespin, you should have him on the show sometime. I mean, does Bespin do that? If he wants to, sure. For sure. It would be better to develop her own character and not be used as a crutch to hold on to an old saga. I agree with that. Making new characters in a new story will allow you to not be attached to the sequel trilogy. Here's the thing. Whether you like the sequels or not, there's no denying that there's a big divide in the Star Wars fandom when it comes to that trilogy. However, if you were to detach yourself from that trilogy, create a new beginning of a saga, then you'll not have the problem of fans going, this is just a continuation of the sequel trilogy, which I already don't like. You know? Yeah. So hopefully this new trilogy will be detached. It won't be in episode 10, 11, 12, because that would allow fans to go, this is just an extension of the sequel trilogy. I don't like the sequel trilogy, therefore I will not be watching this. Yeah. Max says, come on, y'all, the story that they made was terrible. They literally killed off all the Jedi, including Soul. Max, the show is called The Acolyte. It's about the bad guys. And the bad guy, Kymir, is one of the greatest Star Wars characters created in the last 20 years. Look at how they connected Balin to what we have. So a new character could do that as well and not Darth Krayt. Look at Balin connecting to what we have. Oh, I got you. Like Balin is a Jedi who survived Order 66 and he's still connected to everything else. I understand. You could come up with a new character and not do Darth Krayt. But because you already have Darth Krayt, it seems like an easy sort of way to go about it. Yeah. A Gonk Droid trilogy? I'd be down for that. What if he signed on for 4 movies instead? In episode 10 was a Rey movie to set up chapter 1, 2, and 3. I don't think so. They wouldn't just do a one-off movie called episode 10. Star Wars works in trilogies, definitely not in 4 movies. I like where your head's at, but I don't think so. I don't think so. So if Mace Windu really did die in episode 3, what happened to his body? Yeah, no body, no death. I don't know. If you want to bring Mace Windu back, do it, okay? Okay. But you got to do some explanation stuff. Like, there's got to be a reason why he wasn't involved in the original trilogy or in anything else. And that's going to be a lot of work to do, just to bring him back just to die again. Yeah, no? An all-new, brand-new villain and good guys could be a good thing. A fresh new start for a new trilogy. Absolutely. I think new is not always bad. Actually, for the most part, it's usually pretty good. Here's the thing. The sequel trilogy introduced a bunch of new characters. For the most part, fans seem to like them. Now, with the exception of Rose, which fans really, really don't like. Finn, but that's more so because of his character arc. He was supposed to become a Jedi and he didn't. Rey's not liked by most, but that's just... I feel like she's mostly liked. Kylo Ren was pretty much liked. Maz Kanata liked. Babu Frick liked. Poe Dameron liked. The majority of characters were pretty much liked. It was more so just the not set story from the beginning, not just a lack of connection through the 3 movies. But they're not, like, Disney can clearly make a new character that fans can fall in love with. Look at Rogue One. There's a whole cast of brand new characters in that movie. They all die by the end, spoiler alert, but you fall in love with those characters. You have an emotional connection to those characters in just 3 hours, less than 3 hours. And you feel it when they die. You know? Explore the Force, what's up, says, I want the writers of the High Republic to team up and write it. They have shown the amazing ability to connect characters and stories. Carvin Scott, George Mann, Lydia Kang, Tessa Grattan. I'd be fully down for that. Yeah, the High Republic has come out in 3 different phases, pretty much a trilogy. And they've done an incredible job of connecting all those stories and characters together in a way that the sequel trilogy should have been, in a way that all future trilogies from here on out should be. So the same way that they took their time in creating a brand new cast of Jedi, brand new villains with the Nile, brand new everything in that High Republic era, they need to do that same thing if they're going to make a post-sequel world. Because you need to do that. You need to bring up all these different writers, all these different creators to make a brand new world. That's pretty much what you're doing. You're recreating Star Wars you're taking what people love about Star Wars, putting it somewhere else, and now adding your own twist to it with new characters and new everything, new stories. I agree. Yeah, why not bring over those people? They did a great job with the High Republic stuff. For sure. For sure. A Darth Plagueis trilogy? I'd be down for that. If Palpatine was so far ahead in his planning, then why didn't he collect all the dead Jedi after Order 66, use their DNA for cloning testing? He had almost 100,000 subjects. Well, like 10,000 subjects, but yes. I think they have to be alive to clone them. Like, they got to be alive. That's why Grogu, they need his blood. They need Luke's blood. They need Omega's blood. The kids from Bad Batch's blood. They need to be alive. And capturing the Jedi wasn't really an option during Order 66. Yeah. I'd use twisted up Mace as Jorah's Sabaoth to stand and fight versus Luke. Now that would be pretty cool. The only thing there is that Mace doesn't really have a connection to Luke. Well, he does and he doesn't. Luke doesn't really know who Mace Windu is. Mace Windu would know that Luke is Anakin's son. And of course, we know what Anakin did to Mace Windu. So, interesting. That would be kind of cool. If Mace were to come back as a bad guy, as Jorah's Sabaoth, I might be down for that. Wanting to kill Luke because he's the son of Anakin, and Anakin is Darth Vader. That'd be pretty cool. That I would watch. Yeah. They should. Those should be the next movies and television shows. Oh, the High Republic content you're saying? I don't know. Here's the thing. You got the story there for the High Republic. I would love to see it in a show form. But I feel like there's better places to go first. Post-sequels is a no-brainer. But the Old Republic, the Dawn of the Jedi, those are the places I want to see. That's what I want to see. You know? And/or level storytelling, acting, dialogue, add lore, action, lightsabers. Doesn't that please nearly everybody? You would think, Lex Luthor. You would think. But I'm sure there'll be some people who can find some complaints. I mean, some people complain about Andor too. And Andor is some of the best storytelling in Star Wars, period. Now, add lightsabers to that. Add Jedi, Sith. I'd be down for that. Nobody mentioned Tony Gilroy. Nobody mentioned Tony Gilroy. Have him hop on for a whole trilogy. The High Republic is dead on the vine, I think. It's a niche audience, hasn't caught on. Well, that's the problem. I don't know if they marketed it well or if in the Star Wars fandom, there's just not a want for that type of stuff. Like, yes, fans read novels. More of the hardcore fans read the novels from the Thrawn trilogy to Legends novels, a Plagueis novel. There's a lot of stuff that fans read. But the High Republic trilogies, or trilogy of phases, was never going to be this massive success like a movie or a show would be. So I think they have a good story there. They just need to adapt it into an animated show or live action show or even a movie. Yeah. Yeah. Lex Luthor says, get heavy hitters like a Russell Crowe, Jodie Foster, Morgan Freeman, then a popular action stars that are not locked up. We'd like to see Henry Cavill, Chris Evans, guys like James McAvoy go big with the talent. Well, I think you have to have a balance. Star Wars is always really good at finding young talent that have little to no experience, or I guess they have experience, but they're not really well known. Like a Mark Hamill, Harrison Ford, Carrie Fisher, Hayden Christensen. Look at the sequel trilogy, Daisy Ridley, Adam Driver, John Boyega. They find those people. Yes, you have the others. You have your Samuel L. Jacksons as Mace Windu. You have your Alec Guinnesses as Obi-Wan Kenobi. You have your big names, but usually you have the main cast be those no-name people. And the reason for that, actually, it's genius in a way, because when you look at the actor themselves, you think of the character first. You don't think of what they've been in before. So when you look at somebody like Mark Hamill, you think of Luke Skywalker. When you look at Daisy Ridley, you think Rey. When you look at Hayden Christensen, you think Anakin. Even if they go on to do other big projects, other big roles, they're always going to be that character. So yes, you can have big-time actors, usually be side characters in movies, but you want to keep those main people unknown for the most part. Yeah. The entire Cloud City of Bespin, that's a big live stream. Yeah, it would be. They really need to stop announcing stuff before it's locked in. Well, here's the thing. They didn't announce this. That's the big thing. This is all just leaked out from Deadline. And yes, it does say that the first line is that Lucasfilm closed the deal with Simon Kinberg to develop a trilogy. And that's confirmation enough, like that they've signed a deal to do a trilogy. But Lucasfilm themselves has not fully or officially announced this. Hasn't been announced yet. Sam says they should make a what if show like Marvel did, because there's so many possibilities to what they could do. Like, what if Anakin never turned? What if Luke never joined? What if Luke did join the dark side? I like what ifs. I liked the what if series from the MCU. I don't think they should make a what if show for Star Wars. They kind of did with that Rebuild the Galaxy Lego show that came out earlier this year, which I thought was pretty good. Actually has 100% on Rotten Tomatoes right now. But I don't think they should make a what if. First of all, because there's some pretty great what ifs out there already online. And yes, Lucasfilm could make better ones and, I guess with a bigger budget, create animated or live action ones. But here's the deal. I would way rather than focus on the canon stuff, really just lock in on that instead of having to focus on something that doesn't happen, something that's just a what if, Yeah, no. Jessica, what's up? What'd you miss? Well, you missed quite a bit. Freak Zeke, how we doing? It's been a while, Freak Zeke. Yeah. All right. Where was I? They haven't announced the new trilogy. It's a leak. Yeah, I mean, it is a leak, technically. It won't be announced. I mean, maybe it'll be announced this weekend at D23 in Brazil, but it probably won't be announced till Star Wars Celebration next year. And think about that announcement. When they announce a new trilogy, that's like enormous news. That's why it's going all over the place right now online, because a new trilogy is enormous. It's huge. Yeah. George Lucas didn't have big names. You can see the actors like Luke, Mr. Lucas, wanted young people so they grow up as people, and actors would know their characters, not the people. Yeah, exactly. You know the characters more than you even know the people. Yeah. Mike does what ifs too. Lego Rebuild the Galaxy was sort of like a what if show. Personally, I don't want what ifs in movies and shows, especially from Star Wars. Yeah, I mean, seeing YouTubers do them, I do them, they're fun. But to have Lucasfilm themselves do them, it would be almost a waste of time. I'd rather them focus in on their canon stuff and make great projects. Yeah. Yeah. Indeed. A new trilogy news, a surprise to be sure, but a welcome one.
This is where the fun begins.
Indeed. Indeed. Yeah. Catherine, how we doing? How we doing? Kyle says, I'd like a new trilogy to be about Plagueis and see young Palpatine. I mean, yeah, I'd be down for that. I don't think that's ever going to happen, sadly. If we were ever to get Plagueis or more Plagueis, because he was in The Acolyte, it would have to be either in an Acolyte Season 2 or his own show. It wouldn't be a movie, that's for sure. Explore the Force says, with the obsession with canon people losing their minds, they might accidentally change someone's birthday and it will be all over. Yeah, I mean, I jokingly lost my mind last stream while watching the Skeleton Crew trailer because there was fire in space, which was another big thing that people lost their minds about in The Acolyte, even though fire in space has been a thing since the original trilogy. Yeah. Your pal Joe says, I've heard that the Mandalorian and Grogu movie has finished filming. There was some news about that, and then it kind of got rebutted. They took it back almost. It's supposedly continuing to film into December, but the majority of the cast and crew have left because they don't need them anymore. So yes, most of the filming is done. I think they're filming a lot of secretive stuff now. Yeah. A Palpatine Teen Years trilogy. Again, that would probably be better as a show than a trilogy. But yeah. Yeah. Let me end this poll. I want to see where you guys are at with this. Oh, interesting. I'm already in speculation station for Skeleton Crew in this new trilogy. Help us all. Yeah, that's true. Okay, by the way, 68% of you guys do think that Simon Kinberg has been brought on to be the Trilogy writer. And that makes the most sense. I mean, it's Stephen Knight's gone. This guy hops on, and now it just so happens that he's going to be doing a sequel trilogy. It's going to be the Rey movie. And that's a good thing. Here's the deal. We were hesitant about this Rey movie. It's lost so many different writers. And who's to say that it won't lose this guy too? But this is good news because now it's not just a one-off Rey movie about Rey that fans don't seem to like her very much. Or at least some fans don't seem to like her very much. Now it's going to be a new trilogy that brings us into this new saga, a new time period in Star Wars with new characters and everything else is new. Yeah. Oh, this would be cool. I want a Vader series. What's up, Michael? Great name, by the way. A Vader series would be awesome. I mean, there's always been speculation that there will be a Vader series. I know somebody in the Discord has been talking about there possibly being a Vader series. It would be really cool, okay? Don't get me wrong. I'd love a Vader series. But you also can't deny that the entire first 6 episodes of Star Wars, from Phantom Menace to Return of the Jedi and the Clone Wars, are all about Anakin and Darth Vader. But hey, I'd still be down for a Vader series. Absolutely. Absolutely. The Bane trilogy, directed by Robert Eggers, who did The Witch and the new Nosferatu movie. That's an interesting choice. Never even heard of him or seen either of those movies. But a Darth Bane trilogy would be pretty damn cool. I mean, with that, you already have the Legends books to just base them off of, which would be fan-freaking-tastic. But, yeah. What, Jessica? That's crazy. Tell your math teacher that he's an idiot or she is an idiot. Okay? Say, Mike, the guy who loves Star Wars, says you're an idiot. 1 + 1 is 2. 2 + 2 is 97. Tell him that or her that. Okay? And she has a problem. He has a problem. He knows where to find me. She knows where to find me. It would really help if I knew if your math teacher was a guy or a girl. Yeah. Yeah. Have you heard of the Crow cut from The Acolyte? I saw it and it's pretty good. I have not. Sounds cool though. Sounds like a great name. As long as this new trilogy is cohesive, it could actually be a good trilogy. Well, that's the best news of today. That is the best news of all of this. It's one writer who's going to be writing all 3 movies. Whether it's episode 10 to 12, doesn't matter. Whether it's in this sequel world or before everything else, Dawn of the Jedi, Old Republic, doesn't matter. The fact that there's one guy, one writer, producer that's going to be doing all 3 movies is massive. It means they've learned their lesson from before, and there's going to be one cohesive story moving forward. It's great. Sal, what's up? 33 + 33 is Order 66. There you go. There you go. JC, how we doing? Okay. Where was I? Hard to say the original trilogy was all about Vader, when Vader was approximately only in 34 minutes of screen time. That is true. I'm not saying that, yes, a Vader show would be all about Vader, but I'm more so saying that the original trilogy and the prequel trilogy and the Clone Wars is all about Anakin and his downfall. Like George Lucas always said, it's the tragedy of Anakin Skywalker. That's the story of Star Wars. From the beginning, him being a little boy as a slave, going off to become a Jedi, falling to the dark side, ruling over the galaxy as a bad guy. His son comes to save him. He kills the Emperor. It's the tragedy of Darth Vader. So although he only does probably have 34 minutes of screen time, he still is the main villain and eventually one of the heroes of the original trilogy. Yeah. I'd be much more interested in a Finn movie over a Rey movie. Well, hopefully Finn is going to be a big part in that, yeah. I suggest we give emergency writing powers to Supreme Tony Kilroy. I'd be down for that. I'd be down for that. Yes, I'd be down for that. Austin, what's up? Austin says, just got here. I need to know what kind of Star Wars space this is. Is it a we hate Disney Star Wars, or is it a place to chill? Well, it's definitely not a we hate Disney Star Wars place. I appreciate you being here, Austin. This is the exact opposite of that. I've tried to helm a very positive environment in the Star Wars fandom. I think we've done a pretty good job, if I do say so myself. But maybe others will disagree. Maybe others will disagree. We just like to have fun here. Star Wars is an escape from our reality, especially this week. It's been a great escape, that's for sure, for so many people. Star Wars is always an escape just from real-world problems, whether it's money or whatever it may be, relationship, or your math teacher made you cry. It's an escape from the reality of the real world and how cruel it can be. There you go. There you go. All right, let's see if there's anything else going on here. Wait, what? Oh, okay. Never mind. Never mind. Yeah, pretty much all the news right now is focusing on Simon in this new trilogy. Oh, here we go. D23 Brazil is tomorrow, and it's rumored that we could be getting a new look at the Mandalorian and Grogu movie. So, yes, we're talking about this trilogy, and this probably won't be announced until Star Wars Celebration next year. But over this weekend, which is why you got to tune... I just bit my tongue. Son of a...
I got a bad feeling about this.
You got to tune into Saturday's stream, because Saturday's stream is going to be a big one. We're talking all about D23 Brazil, where we're going to be talking about the Mando news. We're going to get the Andor Season 2 news. We're going to get Skeleton Crew. We're going to be talking about a lot of it. But it's rumored that we could be getting a new look at the Mandalorian and Grogu movie, which could be huge. Possibly a teaser trailer that's released publicly, if not to the people at D23. Yeah. Yeah. Huge Wang is my spirit animal. What? And the cup dump? Not Saturday. It'll be at 100K. Yeah. Not yet. Yeah. Over the next couple of weeks, keep your eye out for an emergency live stream of 100K subscribers, because we're getting very, very close. And we'll, of course, do a countdown to it, where I will dump this entire cup of water filled to the top on my head of water or blue milk. We've talked about it. But of water or blue milk on my head for 100K. I made that promise so long ago, and now it's coming to fruition, which is crazy because we're hitting 100K, which is insane. But also I have to dump this entire cup of water on my head, which is a little bit sad. But yeah, so watch out for that emergency live stream coming hopefully within the next couple weeks. We're getting very, very close. Only 1,200 more subscribers to go. Absolutely insane. Yeah. But with that, I am going to have to get on out of here. I feel exhausted, but I do have to get on out of here anyway. Watch out for maybe a video tomorrow. Depends on how I feel. If not, then watch out for a video or a live stream on Saturday, a video on Sunday, and we'll go on from there. This is some great news, chat. This is some great freaking news, okay? New trilogy for Star Wars, and I can't freaking wait. Whatever it may be. Simon Kinberg seems to be a great option, at least from his experience with Star Wars and his experience in general. Absolutely. What time on Saturday? Saturday will probably be the normal 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I do say so myself. But I'll keep you updated. Yeah. Indeed, I will. You're watching Clone Wars Season 4 right now? Nice. Okay. All right. I appreciate you guys. Smash a freaking like on the stream if you have not yet. How many likes do we have on this thing anyway? We only have 50 likes to 66 of you here. Smash a freaking like on the stream if you have not already. Hit subscribe. Hit that bell so you're notified every time I post a video in my pretty face. I'll show up the recommended feed of yours. I appreciate you guys so much more than you will ever know. Shout out to Austin. Hope you found a new home. We appreciate you, Austin. We are not here to hate. That's for damn sure. But I appreciate you. I appreciate all of you guys so much more than you will ever know. And yeah, smash a freaking like on the stream. God damn. May the force be with you. Always. Oh, yeah. What a great stream. What a great show. You guys are the absolute best. I appreciate you guys so much more than you'll ever know. Huge news. New trilogy. Can't wait. And I'm sure you can't wait either. So I'll let you guys go and speculate about it in the Discord. Hope you have a great rest of your evening. Great rest of your lives. And good night, everybody.